All right, and away we go. Better late than never. Larry Krueger with you for the Krug Show, bright and early on a Saturday morning as we go solo on a Saturday. And what we're going to do is just talk a little Niners, talk a little Texans, look ahead to tomorrow, maybe take a few phone calls. I'll put the call link in the stream. A little Saturday solo. Normally we go with Chapman on Saturdays, but he's traveling to Houston. So it's solo on a Saturday. Let's go. All right, good morning to everybody. Welcome to October the 25th. Probably should get it rolling by saying happy birthday to my sister. Today is her birthday. So Kim, if you're out there, happy birthday. Happy birthday. I doubt you're in my stream on a Saturday morning on your birthday. But happy birthday. Happy birthday, sis. Hope you had a great one. I hope you have a great one. But welcome to the Krug Show. And, of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Go get some brisket chili. It's all good. The pulled pork, the barbecued chicken, Damon and Mary are fantastic. They've got a great restaurant. They work at it. That's why it's such a great restaurant. And they mix up the menu from time to time, but man, nothing beats walking in there and having a nice brisket sandwich. Good stuff for sure. Check out Pig and a Pickle, 2 locations, as I said. And they're great. They may even have a 3rd location on the way. So go say hi to Damon and Mary. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, on the Monterey Peninsula. Thank you, Anthony Catania, for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. He's at 831-521-5264. Claw Daddy Arcades is one of our favorites. They're a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. Thanks to Claw Daddy. He's got brand new arcades opened at Capitola Mall and Visalia Mall here in California. And thank you to Claudaddy Arcades for sending us to New Orleans and being a big part of the show. And also, we should tell you, 49er football this season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chats, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry. Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. And thanks to all of our sponsors for sponsoring the Krug Show. Good morning, boys and girls, as we get things rolling. And thank you to the 219 people that have popped into the room immediately. Thank you. Good morning. And you catch me on a Saturday. Usually I don't go solo, but I haven't gone solo in a while. But I do enjoy going solo. Probably if you say which stream do I enjoy the most, I enjoy the most are the post game streams, because those are my guys. That's Kev, he's my guy, obviously, and Frank, Rye, Danny. I really enjoy that a lot. Doing the post games. JD is my good friend, and so I love those. I love all of the streams that we do. Chapman. Chase Senior, Grant, really everybody that we have on. Barrows, Lombardi, Mayoko. I love all the people that we have on the channel. Sterling Bennett, Dieter. Maybe I'll throw that out today. What is your favorite Krug Show segment of the week? What do you want to see more of? What do you want to see less of? Just pound away in the chat. We'll get to your comments. We always do like to take some calls. We don't do a lot of calls. We were doing a Wednesday night call show last year, but then Kev has got real busy with his job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in the description. And if you guys want to call in, let's do it. Let's take some calls right here. Sometimes I'll do the call thing at night, but it's so late West Coast that the people back east are like, hey, man, I can't be doing this in the middle of the night. Except for the mayor of Murfreesboro, who will sometimes he'll call in. And he'll start talking like this. And I'll be like, why are you talking like this? He's like, because my wife is sleeping in the next room. That always cracked me up. So we this guy's like, Grant, more. Dieter, so polarizing. Ha ha. Baby Wolf, he didn't say Damon. That is funny. Damon and I go way back, but sometimes he pisses me off. We got this one. Tommy says, bring on Anthony Catania from Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. We could do that. We could definitely do that. A lot of votes in the chat for bring on Kev. More Kev. Marco Gomez is Chase Sr. All right. So let's jump to the story of the day. Okay, let's just jump right to the story of the day. And if you guys want to chime in, feel free. But the story of the day, in my mind, is Diana Rossini's report that this guy is suddenly available, and this guy is one of my favorite players in the league, and this is Brian Robinson, or Brian Thomas Jr. Brian Robinson's already on the Niners. The Jaguars, according to Diana Rossini from The Athletic, the Jaguars are listening on calls for wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. Even if a move feels highly unlikely, they're also shopping for defense. But let's talk about Brian Thomas Jr. for a second. I love Brian Thomas Jr. He had an amazing first year. Guess who he was absolutely really in lockstep with? Mac Jones. Mac Jones to Brian Thomas last year, guys, was amazing. Mac Jones, I think, played 5 games. You'd have to go check the box scores, but I'm pretty sure Mac Jones to Brian Thomas was a thing. This year, he's back with Trevor Lawrence. He looks terrible. Balls are ricocheting off Brian Thomas. I don't know what the heck's going on with him. If it's personal, I don't know what the heck's going on. But that is a receiver that is a difference maker. That is a difference-making wide receiver. Yes, the Niners have too many receivers. Ayuk and Bourne, and they got rid of Debo, and they have Ricky, and they got all these different guys. They don't have anybody like that guy. They don't have anybody like Brian Thomas Jr., who just can take over. He's big, he's rangy, he's fast, he's got great skills. Man, there's some loser organizations in this NFL. Carolina's one of them. Jacksonville's another. There's a few others out there that you can just be like, they want to get rid of somebody. You're not like, oh my God, that guy must suck. You're like, oh, good. Let's take a chance on that guy because he's going to have a whole nother second career. Christian McCaffrey hardly career fell apart when he left Carolina. You know what I mean? It's amazing. You leave these teams like Carolina and Jacksonville, you go to other places, the Raiders, you go to other places, and suddenly it's like, hey, what happened to that guy? Randy Moss wasn't very good with the Raiders, but he sure was pretty good when he left the Raiders and went to the Patriots, wasn't he? So, like, could he not play with the Raiders? Yeah, he could play with the Raiders. The Raiders were the issue. Is Brian Thomas the issue? Well, he might not. He might be a little immature. He might be a little young. But I would say the Jaguars are the issue. Was Christian McCaffrey the issue, or was the Carolina Panthers the issue? You can decide for yourself. So the Niners don't need another receiver, but man, I love Brian Thomas. I love Brian Thomas. I would definitely trade for Brian Thomas if I could. Who do you want? You can have any receiver you want from the Niners. You want JJ? Done. You want Ayuk? Done. You want Pearsall? Done. Who do you want, Jacksonville? You can have any receiver on the team. Who do you want? You can have anybody. You want Ricky Pearsall? I'll drive him to SFO. You can have Ricky Pearsall. And maybe they do want Ricky Pearsall. Would you trade Ricky Pearsall right now? Would Niner fans trade Ricky Pearsall right now for Brian Thomas? What about Ricky Pearsall and a 4th-round pick for Brian Thomas? Would you do it? I would. I'd do it right now. And Ricky Pearsall played at Florida, so you know what? Jacksonville's not very far away. That might be popular in Jacksonville. They may like that move in Jacksonville. They may say, hey, get Trevor Lawrence, a good receiver like Ricky Pearsall. Nothing against Ricky Pearsall. He's fine, but he's hurt. He's hurt. He's just seems like he's always going to be hurt. I would make that move. I would make that move. So that's the first Diana Rossini report. Brian Thomas is available, and they're listening on Brian Thomas. Wow. Okay, so that was the first story. Then she also had this little nugget as well. Let's see if I can go back to, I retweeted it, so it's on my profile here. Here it is. Okay, so we got another one here we'll share with you. This is also coming from Diana Rossini. And Rossini we'll share that. Trade deadline buzz per Diana Rossini. Okay, so this is what she's got. Jaguars listening to calls for Brian Thomas Jr., even if a move feels highly unlikely. What do they want? What do they want? I'd love to know what they want. How about this? How about Ricky Pearsall and a second-round pick for Brian Thomas and a fourth-round pick? Would you do that? I'd do that. And I'm not anti-Ricky Pearsall, but I'm pro Brian Thomas Jr. And Brian Thomas Jr. is a difference maker. And I don't know what's going on with him this year, but he was awesome last year. He was awesome with Mac Jones. Go ask Mac Jones about him. Go ask Mac Jones about him. See what he has to say. Also in this report, Ravens, Colts, Lions, Rams are making calls at corner. Yeah, corner is going to be a hot ticket for sure. That's why I've been saying Roger McCreary. Oh, her next line, cornerback Roger McCreary garnering interest. Yeah. That's a name that makes a lot of sense. He's a good veteran corner. Played at Auburn. He's healthy. He's a good solid corner. He's got good size. Scheme versatile. Says Broncos are monitoring the tight end market. Okay, that's interesting. Says teams are showing interest in defensive tackle Quinnen Williams, although the Jets' asking price is massive. Not from what I heard. The guy Connor Hughes suggested yesterday that the Jets would take a second-round pick. Is that not the case? Man, Quinnen Williams is a sure difference maker. Bills are looking for help at wide receiver and safety. There's a lot of talk that maybe the Niners send Pinnock or Brown to the Bills for a draft pick now that they have a little bit of an abundance at safety. That's kind of interesting. Saints not expected to move Chris Olave despite interested suitors. That's interesting because, he's a fast receiver, but he's been hurt a lot. So the trade deadline is coming. And by the way, all you guys should tune in at 10. I'm only going for another 15 minutes or so. At 10 o'clock, I'm jumping over to the radio to do an hour on KMBR, and JD's going to join me, and we're going to talk all about these trades. We'll talk about the keys to victory for the 49ers, but we'll talk all about these trades and potential trades with JD. We'll go into all kinds of trade scenarios with the great John Dickinson. He loves chopping it up and talking trades. All right, let's see what people have to say in the chat. And thanks to everybody. So those are the two reports. 49ers and NFL News 24/7. I don't know how real or legit they are, but it says team showing interest in Quinnen Williams, although the Jets' asking price is massive, according to Diana Rossini. Then he goes on and says the 49ers are one of many teams who reached out to New York. So he's saying the Niners have reached out on Quinnen Williams. I don't know if that's actually the case. I can't say that 49er and NFL News 24/7, even with their blue check, which you can buy these days, is, a great source or not. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad source. I'm not putting him down or putting down his YouTube or his Twitter, deal or any of that. I don't know. So I do know Diana Rossini, but 49ers and NFL News 24/7 goes one step further and says the Niners have reached out to the Jets on Quinnen Williams, or at least the suggestion says there's a big picture of Quinnen Williams right below this line that it was for Quinnen Williams. I don't know that that's true, but that would be who I mean, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, I don't think they want to just add some, scrub. And, it's funny. I was listening to John Feliciano on the radio a few weeks ago, and he's like, when you bring a great player into the room, it definitely picks up the morale of the rest of the guys in the room. So if you add, a long snapper, people are like, "Oh, I didn't notice. We added a long snapper. Good." But if you add Quinnen Williams, people will notice. Guys in that room will notice. You add Brian Thomas, guys are going to notice. You add Trey Hendrickson, guys are going to notice. I mean, that's going to get noticed. I mean, these guys are on the team. They're going to notice whoever gets traded for. But what I'm saying is it's gonna move the room. It's gonna add juice to the room if you add a great player to the room at any position. Because these guys, the players are smart and they know who's good. They know who can play. And if you add a great player to their locker room, they know it. And they're really excited, and there's more bounce and more energy and more hope and more drive and more everything. So I kind of think the midseason trade that John Lynch, has somewhat popularized through the years here has a lot of positive effects. Obviously, it gives you a better team. You're a better team. You have better players. But I think it also kills the drudgery of the long season, and it gives the rest of the room some juice and some energy and some belief. It's like, hey, man, Lynch believes in us. Hey, man, the guys here, they're serious. They're all about that ring. John's going for it. And, that's strong. That can have an impact. That can have an impact in the room.
Yeah, your camera's off.
Uh-oh. The camera go off? All right. Let's see. Where is the camera? There we go. We're back. Okay. So those are some of the stories that are out there right now. This is Brian Thomas's log, or it looks like. No, what do we got here? Yeah, this is Brian Thomas's log. So you're seeing he hasn't done anything, really. I mean, this is last year's log. So is this the log with this is when Mac Jones plays. Oh, here it is. So Kev's in the back room putting this up. This is not me putting this up. This is Kev putting this up. So Kev found this. Brian Thomas's stats when Mac Jones plays. 9 targets, 48, 5 catches, 48 yards. Okay. 6 targets, 3 catches, 27 yards. 3 targets, 2 catches, 12 yards. 7 targets, 5 catches, 82 yards. 10 targets, 4 catches, 76 yards, and a touchdown. 12 targets, 8 for 86. 14 targets, 10 catches for 105 and 2 touchdowns against the Jets. Whew. So he had some good numbers. If you look at some of those numbers, those are good numbers, especially on the bottom there. Jacksonville against the Jets. Jacksonville against whoever's beneath the Jets there. Yeah, those are some good numbers. So Brian Thomas and Mac Jones is a thing to some degree. I know they've got receivers. I know they don't need another receiver, but they need a difference-making receiver. They don't have a great receiver. I think part of the reason they've struggled to run is that nobody really believes in their receiving game because they have no Debo and Ayuk's out and Ricky's hurt and JJ's hurt. And, it's like you're looking around, you're like, wait a second, we got MVS and guys just off the street. And so I think a guy like Brian Thomas, yeah, I would love to see Brian Thomas in a Niner uniform. That would be awesome. That would be an awesome, awesome addition. So there you go. A little bit on Brian Thomas there. Who do you guys want to see the Niners trade for? And also a couple thoughts on this game coming up. The Texans are 2.5-point favorites, and this is a very fast surface. And if you said to me, Krug, give me some keys to victory, I'll give you some keys to victory right now. Here's one key to victory for the 49ers. Get rid of the ball. I mean, you have Danielle Hunter on the other side of the line of scrimmage. You have Will Anderson on the other side of the line of scrimmage. And they're going up against a Niner offensive line that's just challenged. And then you got Azeez Al-Shaair, who's maybe the hardest hitting guy in the game. Who's an intimidator. So get rid of the ball. Get the ball out fast. Do not drop 7 steps into the backfield and stand there like a statue waiting for these awesome edge rushers to tee off on you. This is the number one defense in football for a reason. They play a lot. They've got some great defensive backfield. Maybe the best corners there are. You got Stingley, Lassiter, and Petrie. Sounds like a law firm. And of course, here at Stingley, Lassiter, and Petrie, we believe in fighting for you. But it does sound like a law firm. But those guys are great. I mean, the corners are great, and they got big-time pass rush and Aziz in the middle. What you got to do here is you got to run the ball. You got to keep running the ball. You got to play action pass off of it, and then you got to be real precise with your play action game. I'd love to see Jordan Watkins activated and take some shots down the field, which is why I also like the idea of Brian Thomas, because they don't have a downfield threat. Jennings doesn't get downfield. Kendrick Bourne doesn't get downfield for the most part. Demarcus Robinson does a little bit. Sky Moore's got the speed to do it. Pearsall hasn't played for weeks. Watkins seem totally genuinely uninterested in getting Watkins on the field anytime soon. So they don't really have that downfield threat that makes you honor the ball, the deep ball. But I would say the game plan should be run the ball, play action pass off of that. From what I can tell with the film that I watched of the Texans, and I watched 2 of their games on the All-22 this week. Didn't have a ton of time to see more than that. But the 2 games that I watched, what I saw was a defense that gets hyper-aggressive attacking the line of scrimmage on play action. So no doubt, run the ball, use Brian Robinson a little bit more this week, run the ball, play action pass off of it, and take a couple shots down the field and see if you can move the ball that way. But do not drop 7 steps back and let Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson just come hunt your quarterback. You get Mac Jones knocked out this week, and you could lose the game on that alone. So that right there you can't do. That's key number 1. Key number 2, I think, is for the 49ers on defense is give CJ Stroud a bunch of different looks. If you one thing about CJ Stroud, he's a young quarterback who's not seeing it right now. He doesn't have a very good line. He's not feeling real comfortable back there. Give him a lot to look at pre-snap, even if it amounts to nothing, even if it's all sim, even if it's not even real pressure, even if you're just simulating pressure. But give him a bunch of looks that make him think that you got a bunch of different things going on up front, and make him think and make him process and make him pause and delay him a little bit at the line by throwing him a lot of a voluminous amount of different looks. Show him different looks, confuse him, make him pause. Key number 3, the Niners have a major advantage in this game, is that the Niners defenders are much more physical than these weapons that the Texans have. Woody Marks, muscle him. Jalen Knoll, muscle him. Jaden Higgins, rookie receiver, muscle him. Attack these guys at the line of scrimmage. Get in their face. Challenge them. Dalton Schultz doesn't like to be hit. I mean, I think this is more of the most finesse group of weapons the Niners have seen all year. Be super physical with their weapons. Got to be physical with their weapons. That's a major key. Be really physical with their weapons. Attack their bad offensive line. They're really bad on the left side. If you look at the numbers kind of show it. The Texans are 30th in pass block win rate. The Texans are 30th in run block win rate. The Texans are bad on the offensive line. Really bad. Arianti Ursary is a player that I really liked in the draft, but they're plugging him in as a rookie at left tackle, and he's getting roasted. Laken Tomlinson, the ex-Niner, he's at left guard. That left side is just getting blown apart. You have to attack that left side. That's the 49er defensive right side. That's the Texans' offensive left side. Ursery and Tomlinson are both in the top 10 as far as the worst grading offensive linemen in the sport. So you got to attack this offensive line, but you got to really attack them off their defensive right side. The Niners' defensive right side, the Texans' offensive left side. They're really, really challenged. This is going to be a real challenge for C.J. Stroud because, I mean, he doesn't have Christian Kirk. He doesn't have Nico Collins. So he's leaning exclusively on, young Knoll, rookie, young Higgins, rookie, young Woody Marks, rookie. Xavier Hutchinson is a 6th-round pick from the 23 draft. What else they got? Braxton Berrios? I mean, there's not a lot there. Don't lose this game on special teams. That's another key. And get Azeez Al-Shaair blocked and EJ Speed blocked. I mean, that's those second-level defenders. That's what makes Azeez and Speed so good is speed. Speed has got a lot of speed, and Azeez has got a lot of speed, and they absolutely cover that second level, just the two of them. So you gotta use their speed and over pursuit tendencies against them, and you got to use some misdirection and kind of work back against try to use their pursuit speed against them if you can. One of the things I did last night, guys, as well, is I'm starting to do a deep dive on the offensive tackle class. And I got into Spencer Fano from Utah last night and Francis Mauigoa, the Miami Hurricanes offensive tackle. And I'm doing a deep dive on the top 20 tackles so that I just have, an absolute working knowledge as of Monday on all of, I can speak, about all these guys, about all the top tackles in the draft, because that is going to be the area that the 49ers really need to focus on, is that area right there, the offensive tackles. So we'll do a full breakdown on the offensive tackles probably in the next week or so. So we'll get into that. And I'll just say this, it's a very good tackle draft. And the guy from Utah at the top of the draft, in a lot of ways, is everything you want. Spencer Fano. I mean, he's an athlete. He's nasty. He's violent. He's just he's got a nasty demeanor. He's really smart, really athletic. The arm length is the only real question, but he is an awesome player. High football IQ, strong leader, powerful run blocker, has that nastiness, is kind of feared by defensive players. Utah's got a bunch of guys, but and both tackles are good, but Spencer Fano is their elite tackle. He's a little on the light side, 6'6", 302 pounds, but we'll do a full breakdown of all the tackles coming up here in the next week or so once we get through this exercise. It takes a while, but when I have some time, I can go through it. All right, we got a couple of starred chats here. Daryl Granville. Krug, bring on Ant from 49ers Cutback. Don't know who that is. I'll look him up. Just he goes by Ant. That's it. You know anything more? No last name. Just Ant. Ant from 49er Cutback. Kev, remember that. Ant from 49er Cutback. Daryl Granville. Comes recommended highly. And Daryl's been a member for 29 months. We always give a little cheer there. Thank you, Daryl. Welcome aboard. Ernberg in the house. He says, Niners don't have a wide receiver one. Get Brian Thomas Jr. Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Wide receiver one. This is the franchise that had Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens. If I could have Brian Thomas Jr., I would do it. Who do you want? You want Ricky? You got him. You want Ayuk? You got him. You want JJ? You got him. You want Watkins? I don't feel good about that, but you got him. Who do you want? You want Garendo and a third-round pick? You got it. What do the Jags want for Brian Thomas Jr.? I'd love to know. They just took him in the first round a couple years ago, but, man, he has not been good this year. So there's some bad vibe going on there. So they're not going to get full value for him, which means they probably won't trade him. But, man, if I was Lynch, I would just call that GM on the hour. What about this for Brian Thomas Jr.? What about that for Brian Thomas Jr.? What about this for Brian Thomas Jr.? because get this kind of a receiver, and now your run game's going to click. You want Jacob Cowing, Ricky Pearsall, and a third-round pick? Let me think about it. I thought about it. Done. I'll do it. Ernberg in the house. Good morning, Ernberg. Tommy Huxley in the house. Lair, is it true that the Texans are 31st in tackling? I don't think there is a stat on tackling, a pure tackling stat. If there is, I don't know about it. But that wouldn't surprise me, because Azeez plays fast and, he flies around. But I could see him missing tackles. I could see him being a little sloppy on the tackling. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us because I've got to run over to the radio and do an hour over there. But we are going to talk more trades. In fact, JD is going to stop by. We're going to do a whole segment on the trade deadline coming up in the next hour. So you can catch it on KMBR YouTube, I believe. You can also catch it on 680 AM and 104.5 FM on the FM dial on the old-fashioned radio, and maybe on iHeartRadio as well under KMBR 680. So thanks to our sponsors. We should also thank Sleeper. We actually did before, but thanks to Sleeper, thanks to Pig in a Pickle. We should definitely thank Habbas Law as well. We haven't thanked Habbas Law, but thanks to Habbas Law as well for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Big fans of Habbas Law, and they're great lawyers. 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. And they're one of the newest sponsors on the Krug Show. But if you're in need of someone in your corner, call the law firm insurance companies hope you never call, and that's Habbas Law. HABBAS law.com on the web. Visit them on the web. Visit habbaslaw.com. 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. They're great PI attorneys. They're great friends. Omar Habbas and his son Tarek are they're fierce attorneys. And my dad always used to say, the difference between success and failure in life is a good attorney. So Habbas Law, they're great attorneys. And if you need a great attorney, go to Habbas Law. Visit habbaslaw.com. Once again, 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. Great people rooted right here in Northern California. And they're not, they're good people. They're good people that care. And, man, you get into an accident, the insurance company's trying not to pay you. They say, no, you will be paying. And it's as simple as that. And they can do it. So 1-800-INJURED, habbaslaw.com on the web. They will fight to make it right. Thanks to Habbas Law for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Join me on the radio. We'll do a full breakdown of what the Niners may or may not do at the trade deadline. And we'll do some keys to the game to start off. And then JD is going to join us for a long segment, talking Niners, talking trades. What can the Niners do? What's Lynch likely to do? JD and I will go through it all next on the Sports Leader.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful.